welcome to Sports Plus. Tonight we'll tackle the anticipation for Missouri Tiger football and get our soccer fix from just about every level of the beautiful game. But first, the Cardinals. The roller coaster season has seen more lows than highs, but with 32 games left and the club 5 games out of a playoff spot, I have to quote Jim Carrey's Lloyd Christmas, so you're telling me there's a chance. And so for tonight's main event, we head to Target Field in Minneapolis for the series finale against the Twins. On a hot day in the Midwest, it is mandatory for popsicles and ice cream. The Cardinals needed a pick-me-up in the 5th inning. Enter Victor Scott II. He will admire his handiwork, no doubt about that one. That ties the game at 1 apiece. Cardinals down in the 9th, but here's a break. The Twins need a little bit more practice turning the double play. Runners are now going to be at 2nd and 3rd. Now let's hear it for Newt. Lars with the knock on the next pitch. Cards take the lead, and they win the game and the series 3-2.
It was a wild night, but everybody here had to go through the same stuff, and so whether you get 2 nights of rest or a full night's rest, it's all good, and so we can sleep on the plane ride home, and it'll be a good flight.
In this town, everyone has an opinion about the state of the Cardinals. Few of those opinions actually matter. Tonight we're hearing from one that does. Sports director Frank Cusimano sits down with the president of the St. Louis Cardinals, Bill DeWitt III.
My contention is the DeWitt family, probably the best ownership we've ever had in town. With that said, how difficult is this stretch right now for you and your family?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, we're fans. Obviously, we have a lot at stake as well. We want to be winning games and shooting for October baseball. So, the losses are tough, but we also know that you kind of have to have a game plan and a strategy for staying on top, getting back up top, and I believe we have that.
We just had a series with the Dodgers in August where there was not a sellout. And you're on this streak of, I think it's 20 consecutive years of 3 million or more. That's in jeopardy. Does that scare you?
I wouldn't say it scares me. I mean, look, we know that the best marketing is a winning team. And so if you are struggling on the field, you're going to struggle at the gate. Now, it's all relative. We still figure to be a team that's probably in the top 10 of attendance this year, which is great. I mean, tribute to our great fans after a soft year last year on the field. They still are showing up. So, but for us, where we're used to 3+ million, and you can just pencil it in every year, you're right. That is now in question. We've got to do a better job of marketing and of maybe making some improvements to the game day experience, all those things that are in our control, at least on the business side of things.
And I'm wondering, do you read social media, do you read Twitter, and do you feel anger? Do you feel the anger from Cardinal fans at this point?
I understand the fan anger. I get frustrated and angry and upset as well. So I get it. I don't begrudge fans for being passionate and for stating their case. I mean, sometimes it can get a little nasty on one-off bases, but you try to avoid that stuff.
Too early to say right now the season is over, but it's trending in the wrong direction as we speak. Is it a Botox solution or is it a facelift? What do you think?
Laughing at the analogy. I would say, again, a little too early to tell. We got to play out the rest of the season. There's a nice core there. So I'm not sure which way we'll go at the end of the season, but whichever way we go, I think you have to feel pretty good about the fact that you don't have to strip this thing down to the ground regardless.
If this trends the other way, and if this does not go well, would spending for free agents be a real viable option? Because we're the Cardinals and we can't have 3 bad years in a row.
Look, we're always trying to get better. If it's free agency is the most obvious way that sort of fans understand it in terms of in the off-season hot stove. But you can also improve through player development, you can improve through trades, you can improve through the draft. And we're pushing on all of those angles.
Yeah, are you concerned when you mention player development because this was an organization that just churned out prospects, and we see fewer and fewer, especially in the pitching end.
Yeah, I mean, we look at our trends. We see what's going on. We've had some notable players in our organization do better elsewhere. Those are all things that are obvious to fans, and they're certainly obvious to us. So, you know, that's part of the process of seeing where we can improve.
That's one view of the Cardinals situation. Coming up, we'll get takes from Post-Dispatch columnist Benjamin Hochman. We're also going to take a look at the Mizzou Tigers 4 days before they kick off their highly anticipated season.
This Sports Plus conversation is sponsored by your Quality Ford dealers. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 47 years.
Sorry to see Tudor go. Yeah. I wanted to see him pitch tonight, but that's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. You may want to keep your eyes on that little kid, only 8 years old. He knows a lot about baseball.
Well, even as a youngster, Ben Hochman was ready to talk sports on Channel 5, and the Post-Dispatch columnist is here for tonight's Sunday conversation. Welcome in, Ben. I don't think we're going to dissect the 1988 John Tudor trade tonight, but we are going to talk some Cardinals. Big win today. Still 5 games out of a wild card spot, though. What does this organization do if it's another playoff-less season?
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious? That's the first question? I mean, if they miss the playoffs for the second year in a row, and thus the 5th time out of 9 seasons, at that point, you have to talk about everybody. From the hitting coach and the pitching coach to even John Mozeliak, who I like as a guy and clearly put together some great seasons. But I think if they miss the playoffs again and it's looking that way, and he has 1 more year on his contract and that's it, and Chaim Bloom, the great baseball mind, is an advisor to the St. Louis Cardinals, they need to think about how they want to restructure that front office.
As a columnist, you're on the pulse of the fan base. What is the temperature right now?
I would say 3,000 degrees. I mean, it's the anger, the ire is through the roof, and understandably so. I mean, last year was such a bad year, but we were told, okay, it was a blip. It was an aberration. The St. Louis Cardinals will restore the soar. They will be back to being the team that we knew from growing up, and they're not. They're just at 500 right now. They don't hit well. They definitely don't hit well with runners in scoring position, and they're old, and their old guys aren't doing well.
Let's talk some soccer now. Obviously, the new additions for City FC, a lot of fun. But right now, the path of the playoffs is slim to none. What's your big picture takeaway from this season?
Well, it's kind of a restart, and it's weird because if we had talked before this season began and said, how would you describe this season? Well, I think it's going to be a restart. You would have been like, no, they're supposed to take their success from the first year and carry it into the second and go even higher. But that's the state of this franchise and soccer, the way soccer goes. And look, Lutz made a lot of good moves. Hartel, what a fun player to watch. Simon Betcher, the kid from SLU, is scoring. He's got a nose for the goal. There's a lot to be excited about, but they're just so far back in last night's game. For those that stayed up to watch, it had to have been one of the more painful sports experiences of the year.
Couple Mizzou thoughts. We're both alums. I've never seen the hype train before a season like it is right now. I don't know if you ever have. Just seems like the convergence of a bunch of different things to set up for this season.
College football playoff, 12 teams, it's exciting. And the reality is there's been hype over the decades from Mizzou teams here and there, the Chase Daniels team, the James Franklin teams, and the Blaine Gabbert team before that. But think about this, if you haven't put this together. The 2 best players on the team are 2 of the best players they've ever had, and they're both from St. Louis. They're twofers. You got Luther Burden and Brady Cook, who would be great Mizzou Tigers and fan favorites even if they're from Botswana. But they're from St. Louis, where they root for the Tigers.
You led into my next question. Eli's put an emphasis on Missouri and St. Louis specifically. What does it mean to have, they have 25 players from our metro area who we've covered in high school now on the roster. What does it mean for this year to be powered by guys from here?
It's a win-win-win-win-win because it's a testament to local coaches for growing talent. It's a testament for Mizzou to keep them in the state and have them play for the Tigers. And then, of course, it excites the local fan base. You get excited at Channel 5. Oh, I wrote about this guy on our website. Oh, I covered this guy on Friday nights, and now he's playing for the Tigers, making big plays.
Finish this sentence. Mizzou makes the college football playoff if.
What's the phrase? Take care of business.
Stand on business.
Eli
last year.
Look, I think they can do it. There's some curveball games on that schedule, and the Texas A&M game, I think it kind of scares both of us.
Yeah.
and I don't think they're going to win at Alabama, but I think they beat Oklahoma, and I think they have one loss, and we're covering playoff football. What a weird sentence to say.
Championship game of the Little League World Series tied in extra innings. Lake Mary, Florida lays down the bunt. The Chinese Taipei pitcher throws to first. Nobody home. The winning run comes in from second. It's time to celebrate. But these 11-year-olds saw the Taipei players hit with different emotions, and so they take the time to console their counterparts. Classy move, and then they got to be kids again and champions. In 4 days, the most anticipated season in recent Missouri football history kicks off. The Tigers are 11th in the AP poll to open the schedule, and for many in the program and in the fandom, it is college football playoff or bust. I spent some time in Columbia to preview this season of expectation. That is tonight's Spotlight Story.
And we're not going to be denied, and now we're the Cotton Bowl champs, M-I-Z.
Mizzou back on top, baby. M-I-Z.
2023 was the blockbuster for Mizzou football. 2024 is the even more hyped sequel. With a manageable schedule, a returning roster full of stars, and the new 12-team college football playoff, Tiger fans are dreaming big, and the team knows the expectations.
Dropping my kids off at school today and somebody, saying, a sixth grader saying he's really excited about the football season. I mean, that stuff just wasn't the same, or it hasn't been like that going into it. So that's been awesome to, really stir the passion and excitement of our fan base.
There are some new faces, notably at running back. History-making dynamo Cody Schrader is gone, and transfers Nate Noel and Marcus Carroll are in, along with St. Mary's alum Jamal Roberts.
Those guys been playing ball a lot, so I just kind of still pick up a lot after them, just still watch them play. They tell me a lot of stuff that I can work on myself, and I kind of help them out by them being newcomers, kind of help them out on things that I already know. You just kind of put it together. Things are different on defense too. Corey Batoon is a new DC in town, and with the Tigers losing 2 corners to the draft, someone has to step up at defensive back. Enter East St. Louis transfer from Clemson, Toriano Pride, and Cardinal Ritter safety Marvin Burks, who played as a true freshman last year and is due for an even larger role.
Just every day I go out there just knowing like, hey, I got a lot of shoes to fill up from last year with JC, and just the type of player I am. I just want to be the best on the field that I can be to help my team win.
I want to play in the SEC, the opportunity of playing. Yeah, my family can come to all my games here. That just shows the loyalty to me, because they could have just pushed me to the side, just never hit me up again, basically.
It is hard to escape the STL theme for this year's Tigers. The roster has 25 players on it from the St. Louis area, and they will need to be a big part of the conversation if Mizzou wants to make the college football playoff. If you're talking St. Louis Tigers, the conversation starts with Luther Burden III and Brady Cook. Burden is a preseason AP All-American who has seen his name on award watch lists and NFL draft boards. But before he takes the next step to superstardom, Luther has business to take care of in Columbia. Chief among them, chasing a national title.
It's definitely on the back of our heads. We talk about it all day because we know how close we are, and so we just can't wait to go out there and show the whole world.
As for Cook, what a difference a year makes. From being booed to start 2023 to leading his team to a Cotton Bowl title, the Chaminade kid has more responsibility than ever in his senior season, and he loves it.
Now being in this position, all of that has just been amplified. My responsibility has been amplified, and I love it. I'm leaning into it. The leadership aspect's been really cool. I can see how, the new class of freshmen and, the younger sophomores, they really look up to me. And, I remember that same feeling. So it's really cool. I'm leaning into it. Obviously, the responsibility is a lot more, but, that's why I do it. That's why I play quarterback.
Last year, these Tigers had something to prove. They proved it. Now comes the next step. Take this program somewhere it's never been before.
That's the thing about football, is every year it starts completely over, and no matter what you think you are going into it, the results speak for themselves. Bill Parcells says you are what your record says you are.
We're not really too much tripping off preseason because it's not about preseason, about what you're going to finish with in the postseason.
What is that main goal for the season?
Just winning Natty, man.
Katie Shields and the Billiken women's soccer team hit the road to play at Mizzou tonight. First half, it's Slew on the attack. Hannah Sawyer will split the defense. She goes in, she scores. Billikens go up 1-0. Stay that way until late in the second half. Emily Gaby. She shoots it. She scores. Slew wins on the road 2-0.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
We'll get to last night's City SC draw in Portland in just a second, but today the team was once again out in the community. City players and staff assisted with the All-STL Street Soccer Cup over in Fairmont City. The club installed this mini pitch last year, and today dozens and dozens of kids put it to good use, having some good old-fashioned fun. What about last night? If you scored 4 goals on the road in the MLS, you should win. If you have a 2-goal lead 2 different times, you should win. City did not win. Portland got a questionable free kick nearly 9 minutes into extra time and converted for the 4-4 draw. It's City's league-tying 12th draw of the season and left the interim head coach at a loss for words.
Not sure that was a foul. Doesn't look like Jose even touched him. But again, that's on us. We have to do better in these areas because we can't expect to go on the road and score 4 goals and give up 4 goals. That's just unacceptable.
Final round of the BMW Championship in Colorado. Sam Burns closed with a 65. Could have been a 64 if this shot from the bunker had dropped, and he knows it. But he wouldn't be able to catch Keegan Bradley. The next Ryder Cup captain was the last man to qualify. And from last to first, he celebrates with the gallery and his dad, who got to see him win on tour for the first time in person. The Tour Championship is next week. Time now for the Victory Men's Health, Frankly Speaking, and a word about this upcoming Mizzou football season. Yes, folks, the hype train has left the station, and I am doing my best Michael Scott impression.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Okay, but to be serious, it's hard to contain the enthusiasm for Missouri football right now. 12-team playoff, loaded roster returning, a schedule that lines up in your favor. It's all there. I know it can be a default setting for Mizzou fans to be pessimistic, always waiting for that other shoe to drop. Coach Drinkwitz and his team are not thinking like that. I hope the fans aren't either. Let's just buckle in and enjoy the ride. That's our show for tonight. For producer Andy Moeller, I am Corey Miller. Have a great night, St. Louis.
We are signing off for now, but don't forget, 5